It's Madman's Lullaby, right here on your classic metal show from their CD called Sins of Greed, and that's called Make No Sense.
Love that band, man, and they kicked ass live, too.
They did, absolutely, and seeing them sing karaoke in the bar at the hotel, that was pretty cool, too.
No doubt, man.
It was a lot of fun. All right, we covered a story a few months ago, you probably remember this, where one of these kids who wanted to be a YouTube star,
yeah,
he had his girlfriend shoot him in the chest through a phone book or like an encyclopedia or something.
Right.
And she shot him with a .50 caliber pistol.
That makes sense.
Yeah. But see, this goes back to this whole attitude of what the digital age has brought us, that everybody wants to be famous.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this guy is famously dead.
Yeah. His video went viral, all right.
Yeah. So, who was it in the movie Young Guns with Emilio Estevez as Billy the Kid?
Oh, yeah.
What was his catchphrase? I'll make you famous.
Yeah. Yoo-hoo. I'll make you famous.
Exactly. Well,
I've never seen the movie, but I've just heard the soundtrack.
You never watched that movie?
No, I'm not a cowboy guy.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway.
Good movie? I'll watch it if it's good.
It's a pretty good movie. It's got Emilio Estevez and Charlie Sheen and what was the guy in La Bamba? What was that guy's name?
Wow, is that making me mad that I can't think of his name?
Lou Diamond Phillips.
Diamond Phillips, that's right. Yeah,
he was in that movie, and it was pretty good. What was it? The guy from 24.
Jack Bauer. Kiefer Sutherland.
Yeah, Kiefer Sutherland was in that movie as well.
Oh wow, maybe I should watch it.
It had a good cast.
Yeah.
It had the Bon Jovi soundtrack, John Bon Jovi.
The soundtrack, and I hate to admit this because this is where all my faggotry comes out in full
Your
force.
faggotry.
I love the soundtrack. I still play that soundtrack at least once a month. That soundtrack is excellent. And it's like the only Bon Jovi record that held up at all.
Yeah, well, I'm going to agree. I mean, even the title track, the
Blaze of Glory.
Blaze of Glory. That's a good song.
That's a great song. And I like the song Blood Money. Blood Money, that's what they call it. 'Cause money for blood is all that it takes.
As opposed to Girl Money from Kicks.
Girl Money.
But, I know what Chris Aiken will be doing tomorrow. He's going to be looking up Young Guns.
I will. I'll watch it.
You know what? I'm not a big cowboy guy myself, but I did enjoy the movie.
I in my entire life, God, I think I've watched two. I watched The Unforgiven, which I thought was excellent. And there was another one that was out around the same time. It had like Gene Hackman and it had like Kurt Russell.
Oh, Lonesome Dove?
Was that what it is?
I don't know if that was. I don't know if that's the one it was, but Lonesome Dove was out at that time.
It was those two guys were the main stars.
Okay.
And I watched that and was indifferent.
Right.
My dad used to watch them a lot, and I would just come in the room and I'd look for like a minute and, some Indians that looked like they were from East Harlem.
So you never watched any of the Clint Eastwood movies?
No.
Really?
Unforgiven? That's
no, yeah, I know, but like the early stuff, kind of like, the good, the bad, the ugly and stuff like that.
I think my dad forced me once to go to the drive-in with him and watch The Shootist with John Wayne.
Okay.
And that was just like, I think I fell asleep and just was like, ugh, that's not my speed. I'm just not into that shit.
Huh.
I just never have been into cowboy stuff.
I get it.
I have a weird thing about the way I watch TV. It's like if it's gonna be, I like true to life stuff, but it has to be something that's true to life in the video age. Anything before the video age, as far as I'm concerned, is make believe. I know that's not true, but that's I could never sit back and watch a fucking documentary on like John Adams.
Right.
I could not do that. because I don't care.
Right.
You know, that's before there was real footage that I can compare it to.
Sure.
And that's kind of where cowboy movies come into, is like, that's all before there was like real TV. So I don't care, you know? And then the other stuff that I can't watch that so many people do is like the sci-fi stuff. If it can't really happen, then I don't care.
Yeah. I'm going to agree with you on that. But as far as like some of the classic movies are concerned, and believe me, I'm not a big Western guy, but I did enjoy like The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, and A Few Dollars More, Clint Eastwood.
Not my speed.
Yeah, and then probably my favorite all-time John Wayne movie is True Grit.
Now, I did see, did I watch all of True Grit? I think I've seen some of that. I think that was something that maybe Georgetta was watching, and I fell asleep on the couch while she was watching it or something.
But those are some of my favorites. I could watch those today and go, yeah, I dig that movie a lot.
What's even like that? What is that show that's on HBO now? The Westworld, Wayworld.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's partially based in the country thing, and because like the premise is real cool, but once I started watching it, started out with cowboy shit. I was like, out, bye.
What is that, Longmire or something like that?
Not long. That's another one. Kelly wants me to watch that all the time. That's like one of her favorite shows. And I started watching that. I was like, okay, it may be modern, but it's still a bunch of fucking cowboy jizz bags. And it's like, I'm out of that. Just like Justified. Justified is a show I should like. It's kind of funny, but it's serious. And it has like Walton Goggins, who was Shane on The Shield, and he was the transvestite on Sons of Anarchy.
Right.
I mean, I love that guy's work. But he plays like kind of like a cowboy redneck guy. And I'm like, out. I can't watch it.
I'm sure the Duke would appreciate Chris Akins analyzing him as a cowboy jizz bag.
Well, that's how I feel about the Duke. I'm sorry. When he was filming to shoot us, he should have shot himself in the head, so I wouldn't have had to sit through it.
You know, John, you were kind of a cowboy jizz bag, and I didn't enjoy your movies at all.
Wasn't a fan. I was much more, you know, if you go to like 60s stuff, I always go to TV and stuff before movies, and I will definitely go to like the Twilight Zone and stuff like that. That's like a little more crazy, but maybe possibly could happen in some weird way.
Right, I get you.
You know, that's kind of more, or do you remember, what was it called? Night Gallery?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Night Gallery was the shit, man. Now, that was old TV that I would still watch today. Hands down. I would if they just put the reruns of Night Gallery somewhere, I would watch every one of them. That shit was excellent. I don't know if it would hold up or not, but but I loved it back in 1973 when I was 5 years old or whatever. Right. It was good.
There was well, speaking of that, since you're bringing that up, this was kind of a short-lived series, but it was another one that I enjoyed watching as a kid.
Yeah.
It was called Circle of Fear.
Okay.
Did you watch that at all?
Circle of Fear? No, I don't.
Yeah, it was another one of those movies or not movies, but weekly shows that had, it's kind of like a Twilight Zone thing, but it was called Circle of Fear.
Right.
That was another one that I used to watch. I think it only was like maybe 2 seasons at the most.
Okay.
But since we're talking about cowboy stuff, probably one of my favorite shows. Mm-hmm. And as a kid, and believe me, this was like 73, maybe.
Okay.
So I might have been 10 years old.
All right.
There was a show on, it was mainstream TV. It was called Alias Smith and Jones.
Never heard of this.
Yeah. Well, the one of the main actors was, his name was Peter Duell.
Okay.
And he was kind of like a cool cowboy guy. You know, he was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. This guy, in the middle of this series, he commits suicide.
In real life or in the show?
No, in real life.
Oh, nice.
And, of course, they had to try to figure out how to replace him.
Sure.
And they found some other guy who just wasn't as cool.
Right.
And so even at 10 years old, I realized that the show just sucked now.
Right. Dude, you know, it's one of those weird things that the only show, in my opinion, that ever got it right on how to switch a main character, Bewitched. Bewitched did you ever see the first episode of Second Darren?
I have.
They just announced at the beginning of the show, Darren Stevens, now played by Dick Sargent or whatever.
Dick Sargent, yeah.
Whoever the guy was.
Yeah,
Dick Sargent?
No, it was Dick York was the
Dick
second
York
guy.
was the second
Dick Sargent was the first guy.
Yeah. And they didn't even try to cover it up. They just came in, credits roll, or the entry, like they showed the living room or some shit. They just made an announcement. Now playing Darren Stevens, Dick York.
Yeah, it's just like you're going to accept this.
Yeah.
So fuck you.
And that was like the best way to do it. And I honestly believe people could do that today. I honestly believe if people are people go online and have protests to fucking save their goddamn favorite show. If all they had to do was say, now playing Rooster is, whoever. Shia LaBeouf. And just move right the fuck on. And it would work. I know it would work. But it just they don't do that anymore. Now they just write them out of the shows, which is just plain stupid. Even Roseanne, don't you think they could have put some other fat chick in there and just called her Roseanne?
You know what? Roseanne has a name.
Yeah.
So I just don't think you could just put somebody else in there.
If you made it funny, you could.
Maybe.
Now playing Roseanne, Fran Drescher. Something that totally didn't fit.
But that goes back to what I was talking about, that, this alias Smith and Jones.
Yeah.
I think they went through 2 seasons with these guys, and it was like my favorite show. It came on a Thursday night, I think at like 8:00.
Right.
And I was so into it as a kid. It's like these guys were cool. They were cowboys. They were just, Badasses. This guy commits suicide in the middle of like season 3.
Which one did, Alias or Jones?
Kit Curry and I think in the show his name was Joshua Jones or something like that.
There's a picture on the screen. Which guy committed suicide?
The dark-haired guy.
The guy standing.
The guy standing. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
He was the cool guy.
Yeah, he was the cool guy. Yeah, he was the cool one.
Okay.
And he committed suicide.
And they replaced him with some other guy?
Yeah, some other guy, and he just was like a dork.
Was he supposed to be the same guy?
Yeah, he was supposed to be the same guy. And it's just like, this fucking sucks. Of course, I didn't say fucking at 10 years old, but I was just like, this sucks. This ain't the same guy.
At least they didn't bring in the guy and say, okay, well, this is now Jones's cousin. Here he comes. He's now moving here. It's his cousin.
And thinking back, I'm 54 years old, so I'm thinking back 44 years now.
Right.
I was so sad. I was really sad as a kid. I was just like, holy shit, that guy was cool. He was like a cool guy. He wore the tight riding gloves and had the black hat, and he was like really cool and all this. And then they bring in this dork. And it's like, this isn't the same show.
Now, have you watched this show since?
I have the movie. They did a movie with it.
Okay.
And I actually own the movie.
Of course you do.
Yeah, but that was my kid. That was my childhood, being as a kid is like, this fucking sucks, man.
I was just curious if the show held up for you when you watched it, No,
I enjoyed the early shows with the original characters, but when they change characters, it's like, this isn't cool.
Right. Yeah, it's always weird when you go back and watch that shit, shit that you were really into as a kid, and then when you see it, it just does not hold up. Like, and this is weird because I just said that I don't watch space stuff, but and dude, I'm going way, way back in time now. So you probably will remember this show, although you were probably too old for it by the time it came out. You remember how Saturday morning was cartoons, obviously, right? And then before it was cartoons, it was just kid programming. There was a show. It had to be 74, 75 or something. I don't even know if it had like 2 years. It was awful, but it was like my favorite show as a kid, called The Lost Saucer. Do you remember The Lost Saucer?
I vaguely remember that.
It was Ruth Buzzy and
Yes.
Jim Neighbors.
Yeah. I do remember that.
It didn't have it had 1, maybe 2 years only, but they played reruns of it for like 10 years.
Sure.
Because it was all part of that whole HR Puffin stuff.
Yeah, well, I was going to say that because it was related to that.
Yeah, it was all into that whole thing, the Sid and Marty Krofft collection. And but I loved that show as a kid. I mean, loved that show. Used to go out in the yard, my brother, and we would climb trees and pretend that we were on the fucking spaceship. And,
right.
We'd pretend that we were the characters on the ship and shit. I mean, I love that show, right?
Sure.
So I watched. I was on like some stupid channel like Me TV or Antenna TV or some shit, and they were doing like a Saturday morning thing, and I just happened to see The Lost Saucer was coming up.
I'm all into this. I'm going to watch it.
I absolutely sat down, turned it on, and yelled to my son to not make any noise because I wanted to watch this fucking show. The Lost Saucer. I'm fucking 50 years old.
Right.
This was only like 2-3 years ago, maybe.
Sure, I get you.
47 years. I didn't want to be disturbed. I wanted to watch this fucking show, right?
I want to relive my childhood.
I want to relive it. I turned this goddamn show on, and it was the worst bag of shit ever. The shirt, they're wearing these fucking uniforms, and they're like silver space uniforms that are quite literally put together with fucking duct tape.
Right.
The uniforms were made out of duct tape, and they didn't even try to hide it. It was just as cheap as it's like, okay, we got $500. We're going to make a show. It was the worst show ever, and I was so disappointed. I watched the first episode, and I was like, oh, well, maybe it's just that episode. And no. Of course, I watched like 3 episodes of it, and they all 3 really sucked ass. And I was just like, man, that just ruined a fucking large chunk of my childhood. Because I used to watch The Lost Saucer.
Disappointed!
I was disappointed. Too funny, man. Ugh. The Lost Saucer.
That is funny.
Oh, there it is. The Lost Saucer. And look at those uniforms. What the hell is that? That shit is just terrible.
I know a place where we can emerge out of a spacecraft.
Well, maybe that's where John ended up. We haven't heard from John in a while. Maybe he jumped back on the Lost Saucer. Took Jim Neighbors' uniform once he died and got in there.
Right. So funny. I know where we can merge out of a spacecraft.
Need to be enemies with those guys again just so we can pick on that shit.
So funny.
Yep.
Look at Bert and Ernie.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to look at Bert and Ernie. I was happy that whoever put that hot chick right behind it.
Wow. So good.
Yep.
All right. Well, speaking of video and stuff, in today's day and age, we've progressed to YouTube.
Yes.
Which the Classic Metal Show has, or at least Chris Aiken has made the Classic Metal Show a YouTube favorite among people who listen to our nonsense.
People seem to like the YouTube.
They do. But anyway, a few months ago, we covered this story where this girlfriend shot her boyfriend in the chest with a .50 caliber pistol.
Wow.
And he died.
Oops.
But as part of the trial for this thing,
yeah,
they've uncovered the transcripts that where she was basically saying, "I don't want to do this."
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically she says, "I can't do it, babe. I'm scared." The dramatic video shows swaggering wannabe YouTube star forcing his scared girlfriend to shoot him through a book,
right,
in a video stunt which left him dead and put her in jail.
Right.
The final moments of YouTuber's life before he was shot dead by his girlfriend in an ill-advised stunt have been revealed. Prosecutors in Norman County, Minnesota on Friday released a video and transcripts from the fateful video of Pedro Ruiz, 22, and his then pregnant girlfriend, Monalisa Perez, 20. I can't do it, babe. I'm so scared, Perez told her boyfriend in a transcript from the June 2017 video as she wielded a .50 caliber Desert Eagle.
Go ahead, babe. What could happen?
Yeah, .50 caliber.
Jesus Christ.
One of the most powerful handguns in the world.
Fucking thing will shoot through a car door.
No shit. .50 caliber is huge.
That's a big round.
It is. I can't do it, babe. I'm so scared, Perez told her boyfriend in a transcript from the 2017 video. She wielded a .50 caliber Desert Eagle, one of the most powerful handguns in the world. As long as you hit the book, you'll be fine. Come on, Ruiz responded, holding a hard-covered encyclopedia to his chest.
Right.
While cameras were rolling, she fired a bullet that went through the book and killed him.
But did it come out the back of him, too? Is what
Right,
I'd like to know.
right. That's a big fucking gun.
Yeah.
Babe, if I kill you, what's going to happen to my life? Like, no, this isn't okay, the transcript reads.
Yeah.
Perez of Redfield, South Dakota, was sentenced earlier this year to 180 days in jail for second-degree manslaughter.
That's it? 6 months?
Yeah, 180 days.
Yeah.
Perez was pregnant with her second child at the time of Ruiz's death, and their son was born in September.
So you're old enough and responsible enough to have kids.
Yeah.
But this is what you do for fun.
Yeah, because he's going to be a big star.
What kind of bullshit is that?
Yeah. In the release portion of the video from the stunt, Ruiz addresses the camera and says, "So if I'm going to die, I'm pretty much ready to go to heaven right now. If I die, I'll be ready for Jesus."
Oh, God.
No, it's Jesus, not oh, God.
Well, at least there's a good band waiting for him at the gate.
Right, because Lemmy's there, and Dimebag is there, and Vinnie Paul is there now.
Oh, Cliff Burton, Dio.
Right. And don't forget Brian Badass Boone.
That's the announcer, yeah.
He's there as well. He probably won't accept me into the pearly gates because of how stupid this is, but I have confidence that my girlfriend will hit the book and not me.
Oh, well, she did.
I mean, I hate to laugh about this, but it's just like, I'm glad you were wiped off the planet, dude.
Yeah, this guy, really, you just saved us 60 years of bad time.
Right.
That's really all she did. That's why she got the light sentence, because she didn't really do anything wrong. She just fucking sped up the inevitable awful.
Right. The mother of two took a plea deal in December that will allow her to serve out half of her jail term in increments of 30 days per year for the next 3 years.
Wow. That's pretty nice.
So what is half of 180? 90 days?
Yeah.
So she's going to do 30 days per year for the next 3 years.
I think I'd rather just do the straight 90.
Yeah, let's just do the 90 and be done and over with.
90? Holy shit. How could you not be able to do 90 days?
Right.
And just think, that's 3 opportunities to go into prison and get fucking a new crowd of fucking assholes. At least if you go in once, you learn the assholes, you learn how to avoid them.
Exactly.
Oof,
she is also banned from ever possessing a firearm.
Wow, smart.
After the shooting, Perez told the police on the 9/11 call that Ruiz had asked her to fire a bullet from a pistol into an encyclopedia as he held it against his body.
How come, and maybe this is just a crazy, stupid thought, how come they didn't test this out once? Just one bullet first? Just put the bullet up, just put the book up,
Went,
on
holy
a shelf
shit,
or
that
something?
thing went through.
And go, oh, maybe this is a bad idea?
Right.
What the fuck? They didn't test it one time?
Apparently not. The projectile penetrated the volume and fatally wounded the young father. The fatal bullet was captured on 2 cameras that had been set up to record the stunt.
So she now banned from having a phone, too?
Their 3-year-old daughter, Aliyah, was present when the shooting occurred.
Well, that's good.
We were doing a YouTube video and it went wrong. Please hurry up, Perez told the 911 dispatcher in June of 2017.
Mommy, Daddy bleeding. What the fuck?
Prior to the shooting, Perez had tweeted, me and Pedro.
Yeah.
Pedro. Chris Aiken.
What?
Pedro.
Morales? Gonzalez?
No.
What?
I was waiting for guilty.
Oh. Sorry.
Me and Pedro
Guilty.
are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever.
Ooh.
It's his idea, not mine.
Yeah, that didn't help her get out of jail time, did it?
If the 20-year-old had gone to trial and was found guilty, she could have been looking at up to 10 years.
Instead, she got 90 days.
Right.
The judge probably felt like, you just did a service.
Yes, exactly. You did us all a favor.
Yeah.
I'm going to do you a favor. Half the time served.
Wait a minute. She got a sentence that was 1/20th what she should have got, right. And then they reduced that in half?
Yeah.
They really felt this guy was a piece of shit.
Yeah, it's like, I'm glad this guy's gone.
The judge, at the beginning of the trial, the judge was in there sipping
don't
champagne.
say the judge. You are the judge.
Yeah, thank you. The judge was like, thank you for taking care of this problem.
Right, because this guy would end up in front of me at least a half a dozen times over the next 20 years. So,
or sucking up money out of the system.
Exactly.
Oh, what a dope.
The prosecutor handling Perez's case said Ruiz's family members signed off on the plea deal. They signed off on it. They were so kind. Said your fucking son, you wanted his pregnant girlfriend to shoot him in the chest, and you're going to say, oh, well, she was totally at fault.
Yeah, of course not. They want to keep the kid in, or they want to keep the kids in their life.
Yeah, they signed off on it.
Of course they did.
The couple's YouTube channel had 218 subscribers.
Nice.
What do we got, like 4,000 or something?
Yeah, something like that.
218.
Yeah. Well, playing to the bigger audiences.
Right. There. And it included pranks like Perez feeding Ruiz donuts covered in baby powder.
Was it a YouTube live video?
I don't know.
Jesus, that must have seen like 8-9 views.
Right.
God.
In their last video together, the family go to a fairground, and Perez says, imagine when we have 300,000 subscribers.
Yeah, well. Yeah, imagine that.
You didn't quite make it, did you?
No, you certainly did. You know who I could envision this actually being? Heavy Metal Dad and Anime.
Yeah, I think that's probably the case.
That's the kind of people these are. Oh, let's get attention this way.
Right.
So I'm going to shoot you in the butt. I'm going to shoot you in the book and hope it doesn't hurt you. But what if it hits you, Dad? It'll be great. It'll be awesome. It's going to be fun. Well, I'm going to say so, but it really sounds kind of stupid to me.
So dumb.
Okay, I haven't talked about Anime Girl in 2 fucking years. Can still do the impression.
Oh, you know what the funny thing is I revisited Anime Girl last week.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I did. I listened to
The impression is still dead on, isn't it?
Oh, my God.
Anime Girl.
And of course, they disappeared.
Of course. I wish they were still going.
Right.
I loved that content. That was some of the best content we ever found. Okay. Yeah. You in the book. Oh my God.
Yeah. Terrible.
Yep.
Let's see here. I was trying to see if I could find any of the audio from this shooting, but apparently I can't find it.
They don't have the shooting online?
No.
Damn it.
They don't.
I'd like to watch that now. I would subscribe.
Of course you would.
Knowing that he's going to get killed, I would watch that. Do you think that we as a population now are absolutely desensitized to killing?
Yeah.
Because I can watch that shit all day long now. I have no queasiness about that shit anymore.
I don't know if queasiness has taken over as much as we've advanced so far to where it's just like, yeah, that guy deserved to die.
Yeah.
It's
but
like,
even if not, like, did you ever watch any of the beheading videos or any of that?
They were available. I did watch the Saddam Hussein hanging.
Yeah.
And, it's just like, okay, that guy got hanged. But I've seen similar things on those Western movies.
Sure. Yeah, the beheadings were a little tough, I ain't gonna lie. When they hacked off the one guy's head and then fucking set his head on his back.
Right.
Oof, that was a bit tough to watch back when Ogrish was a thing. Remember Ogrish.com?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that was on Ogrish. I remember that. And I watched the other video. What was the news guy? The first one. Daniel something?
Daniel Pearl.
Daniel Pearl, yeah.
Right.
I watched his head get lopped off. That was pretty tough, too. Yeah, I think I'm desensitized to it now. Like, dude, this is how bad I am. What was that documentary that we both talked about where the pizza guy got the thing that blew him up?
Oh, yeah. The Mad Genius or something.
Yeah, whatever it was, the crazy lady, whatever it was.
Yeah, up in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Yeah. When they showed the thing go off on him,
yeah,
I absolutely laughed. I didn't go holy shit, or I didn't go whoa. I mean, I guess I did that too, but I was like ho, and then I laughed. I just laughed at it because it was like, this is so fucking ridiculous that it's funny.
Well, here's where I think that comes into play.
Yeah.
When you see stuff that happens, okay, let me give you a prime example here.
Okay.
Over in Pittsburgh, my favorite city of all time.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been this week if you were there, but
well,
that's cool.
I know what happened here this week.
Yeah.
But these 3 kids in their teens, they murdered somebody. Took off. The description of the car was given to the police.
Yeah.
The police found the car, pulled it over. They basically were doing an arrest. A couple of kids took off running.
Okay.
A police officer who literally had been sworn in that evening.
Yeah.
Shot one of the kids.
Oh boy.
In his flight.
In his debut.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And the kid fleeing the scene was part of the murder. Okay. Now, regardless if he was armed or not, he took off running from the police.
Right.
Okay. So the police officer, who was not an experienced police officer, I don't know anything about what was going through his head or anything, but apparently he told the kid to stop or, freeze, freeze, whatever you want to use. And the kid didn't do it.
Right.
So he opened fired and shot him and killed him.
Right.
So there's been protests in Pittsburgh this week.
Yes, there has.
For shooting an unarmed kid.
Right. Sure.
Right. And of course they had to dig out the most innocent looking picture of this kid.
Yeah. Kid when he was 8.
Yeah. And he shot an unarmed kid, blah 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 blah. This kid was part of a murder. They just killed somebody.
Right.
And the thing is I saw the YouTube video or the video that was posted online. Somebody had their cell phone out and they saw the arrest and saw the kid take off running and saw the police shoot at him.
Yeah.
I didn't feel bad about it at all.
No.
Not because he was a black kid.
Right.
It's because he was involved in a murder
Right.
And he didn't listen to the police officer, and he took off running.
Yeah.
Now, if he hadn't been involved in a murder and he hadn't took off running, he wouldn't be dead today.
Right, of course.
So I have no empathy for that at all. I go, well, you know what? You were part of this murder. You were part of this group of kids. You took off running. You didn't adhere to what the policeman said. You got shot and killed. Do I feel bad? Not at all.
Right, no.
And I think a lot of people in this country are so sick and tired of people being the victim all the time. That they go, you know what? Had you not been involved with any of that, you wouldn't be the victim.
No, of course not.
So no, I don't think empathy runs very deep in this country anymore.
Nah, it's definitely fading fast.
But I send you articles usually every week.
Sure.
About the 13% causing 90% of the problems.
Yeah.
And just judging from the comments that are made after these type of stories are reported, I think everybody's getting to the point where just like, yep, 13%.
Yep. Dude, you sent me one this week that just was 13/90.
Yeah, that was it.
I was like, holy smokes. And every comment was the same thing. You know, but dude, I know I sort of said this to you, but are you hip yet to live PD on A&E?
You know, I saw you posted something about that. I didn't know what that was, but what is that?
This is going to become your new crack cocaine. It's a show. It's on every Friday and Saturday on A&E, but it's also on there. You can watch back episodes of it on the app, which I will get you a username for.
Okay.
So that you can use the app to watch it. It's what they do is it's a show. It's kind of like Cops, sort of, but they have cops all over the country, like on any given night between 10 and 15 precincts, different precincts all around the country.
Okay.
And the show is 3 hours each night live from 9 to midnight on Fridays and Saturday nights. And all they do is anytime a cop goes to stop somebody, they flash over to that fucking situation. And they show it live. So it shows all these cop stops live and just shows how fucked up people are. And it is crack cocaine. And then what they do on some of the stuff, if it's a little bit more tricky or whatever, then they come back to the studio and they are, they have experts there. They have 3 cops that sit there and talk about, well, this is why he did this, or this is why he did that, or I would have done this in my precinct, or whatever. It is the most addictive show on television I think I've ever watched.
Sure.
I was watching it last night. I could not fucking... I had to piss for 2 fucking hours. And I couldn't pull myself away from the show. Because and I was laughing my ass off. One guy they arrested last night was so funny. The guy, they bust him. He has maybe 4 teeth left in his mouth.
Right.
He's got long Ric Flair looking hair. He's an old stoner. They bust him with the wrong plates on his car, and then they find out that he has a suspended driver's license.
Of course.
He has pills. He has a bottle of weed, like a pill bottle full of weed.
Okay. But
he hasn't done drugs or drank anything since 2010.
Sure.
And he had all the excuses under the sun. and just with every passing lie that he told, they're like, well, wait a minute. Your license here says ND on it, non-driver. Oh, I don't know anything about that. Since when has it been that? Since 2010. Oh, no one told me. No one told. Like, dude, you go in every time and you don't have to do a driver's test. It's a photo ID, you fucking retard.
Right.
Oh, I was laughing my ass off.
Well, I like the ones where they run somebody down.
Yeah.
And they frisk them and they find shit in their pockets.
Yeah.
And the first thing out of their mouth is, "These aren't my pants, sir."
Dude, they had one last night where they busted a guy, and they they asked him, they said, you got any weapons on you or anything? And he said, no. And he said, you got any pot? And yes. And they took his weed from him and whatever. Everybody seems to have weed now. They don't even stop everybody anymore for weed. They just take it. And sometimes they don't even ticket it. They just are like, dude, go on. Don't have time for this shit. But they had one guy, so they asked him about weapons and everything. And he said, no, I don't have any weapons. And, all I have is my wallet, whatever. They pulled out a goddamn, what do you call that? Brass knuckles out of his pocket, when they frisked him. And he goes, oh, I forgot about that. Really? You forgot that you had black or brass knuckles? They had another guy last night that he was a felon with multiple fucking warrants out for his arrest. And him and his girl told him that they didn't have a gun, and then they found the girl had a gun. And came to find out that the guy passed the gun to her because he had warrants, so he was a felon, so he wasn't allowed to have a gun. So he gave it to the girl, and the girl didn't know what to do, so she said she didn't have it.
Right.
Oh, my God. I was fucking glued to my TV last night. Of
course. Well, it's cops all over again, but it's, more real time.
It's in real time, which is great.
Yeah.
They had this one last night where, dude, I was so hoping that they would just let the dog loose. They had the canine dog, and it was some fat chick that fucking was dealing meth, and they had a warrant to come and get her. And she locked herself in her bedroom, and they literally said to her like 5 times, they said, one more warning, we're letting the dog in. And I'm sitting on my bed going, let the dog in.
Yeah. You're the cheering section.
And then at the last second, she came out with her hands up, and they just fucking arrested her. But I was totally bummed that they didn't let the dog get her, because they were showing some old footage. Then they did a flashback to another one where a dog ran a guy down and jumped him and just fucking gnarled his face off. I loved it.
So you were playing tag team. Who let the dogs out? Who?
Dude, I was loving it last night, man. That show is, and there's like 30 episodes that are on the app. So that's my new crack cocaine. I can't stop watching it, man. So fucking interesting and intense. Because it really shows you that every stop is intense for these guys. I wouldn't do their job. Dude, they showed one guy last night, he pulled one car over, and another guy almost hit him looking at the fucking traffic. The guy was trying to go around him, and he almost hit the cop because he was looking at the fucking car that was stopped. And he, fucking idiot. And then they stopped him and gave him a ticket for being a dummy.
I am loving this.
I was, Rev. You're right on it, buddy. It's a good show, man. Live PD.
Sure.
Now, from what I hear, they got another show on Mondays that's like, it's Chick Cops Live, but they do it on bicycles. And they were showing some clips of that last night. I was loving that too, because they showed this one guy. They busted him for pissing in public and just wrote him a ticket just for pissing in public. And he's sitting there crying. I mean, he was crying because they were giving him a ticket. And he's like, this is going to ruin my life. My life is ruined. So they flash forward like an hour later. He's at some fucking place getting like a burger or something. And 3 guys beat this guy's ass for no fucking reason. Like, he wasn't talking shit. He just walked out the place with his bag of food or whatever. And they just came up on him and just whop, 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 beat his ass to the ground. It was hysterical. And the guy was like, you think they'll give me a free refill since my chicken got thrown on the ground? and oh my God, it was, and the cops couldn't have been funnier. They were like, looks like it's still in the bag, sir. Probably still good. Just because it hit the ground, it just hit the ground in the bag. It's still good. Go ahead and eat it. And sure enough, he picked it up and ate it.
Of course.
Fucking jizzball. I loved it, man. The real cop TV, that's the only one-on-one interaction that I want to have.
Right.
With anybody. Just watching it on TV. It's great TV.
Sure. Well, we got to dump a little chlorine into the gene pool.
Yeah. Well, I love seeing it happen. That's for sure. I love seeing the cops just fucking run down people and And dude, they had another one last night. There's this guy, they ran him down into an apartment, and he's tapping on all the windows, and like the guy would just turn off the lights in the room where he was tapping on the window. Oh no, they must not have seen those lights turn off. So fucking good, man. Oh man, it was good. You got to watch that show, dude.
I will definitely check that out.
Yep, I will send you a password tomorrow for that. You have to watch it. It is so good.